Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, with all the stuff that's going on in the world today, the things that we talk about on this channel pretty much every day, the stuff that you're watching on other YouTube channels and other sources that you're getting your info from, it's pretty fair to say that the world is kind of falling apart. I mean, it's making that big white porcelain spiral. And it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good short term, and it doesn't look good long term. Many people, including myself, believe that we are watching the collapse of our civilization. And I believe that's exactly what this Great Reset, this Agenda 2030 is all about. They know it too. They know it's happening. They've probably known this kind of stuff for decades and decades. They have all the big brain people sitting there doing the math and figuring the stuff. Plus, you know, they have the power and the money to orchestrate a lot of this, and they want it to fall so that they can be there to pick up the pieces into their new way of living, their new world order. And so we all are aware of that. But here's the thing, as we talk about this and as we keep on edge and we keep preparing, there's one big thing that I talk about often on here that it's very, very important to do, and that is community. It's community and coming together to help each other out, support each other in this kind of a tribe, much like it once was and still is in many parts of this world. And I think that that's one of the best ways that we can survive through all this. But today I want to talk about is, well, how ready are you for that? Like from a psychological standpoint and from a standpoint of being able to get along. It's something that I talked about quite a bit last night over on my Patreon channel. And I want to kind of pick up that conversation here today and talk about that some more. And some things that we're doing here, and maybe some things that you can do to kind of open those doors, because that seems to be one of the biggest questions that I get from people. They comment, they send me emails, and they say, you know, we're doing pretty good on our preparations. I mean, we're working really hard at it. We're stocking up food, we're growing food, we're doing all the things, but we really can't find anyone around us that's like us. And then that's where the real problem comes in. To try to do as much as we can here, you all know that we do monthly meetings, and our monthly meetings, we average anywhere between 200 to 300 people a month coming from all over the state and from other states. But this month, we are not having our normal monthly meeting. We're having a big expo. And it's a 2-day event at the end of this month, the 26th and 27th. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So give me a little bit of leeway to talk about that, because I have a lot to say. Number one, it just seems like this is our first attempt at doing this kind of stuff. I have assisted and helped in the past do events like this, but you know, this is the first time we've taken this on. And I'm going to tell you, it's like everything has been against us to pull this off. It just every step of the way, it's been a fight. We've had internet problems, we've had email problems multiple times, website problems. I think I fixed the website again. For some reason, it was not showing the dates and when and where it is and all that kind of stuff. I think I've got that fixed. For some reason, when people are emailing me through the website, it keeps sending it to the spam and junk file, and I've gone in and I've tried to fix that multiple times. Maybe it's done, maybe it's not. We've had the hardest time getting a hold of people for different services that we'll need for this event, things like porta potties and stuff, but we think we've got most of that nailed down. It's just been a real uphill battle for this, but we are determined to pull this off. And so what that means is well, it's still a go, and I hope that many of you can come. To give you a brief synopsis of what this is, it's kind of like a farmer's market. It's kind of like a product expo. It's kind of like just a gathering of people. There'll be people speaking about certain subjects that they're an expert on that kind of relates to homesteading and prepping. There'll be skills demonstrators outside. We have a property that's about a 20-acre property reserved for this for 2 days. There will be vendors there. There will be food there. We believe that there's going to be animals there, possibly. One was going to bring their milk cow, but they believe their milk cow will be birthing that weekend. It's a strong possibility. And so they'll be calving around that time. So they're not coming, but we think we have some other people coming. A lot of pretty exciting things happening over 2 days. It's a Thursday and Friday, the last Thursday and Friday of May. Now, here's the thing. This is a completely free event. There are homesteading type events all over. And some of them can get kind of pricey, and we wanted to make this one free. We're not trying to make any money off of it. I hope, keeping my fingers crossed, that we can break even on it, because we've put a lot of money into this so far. But even if we don't, just the blessing of being able to help other people out and bring people together is going to be worth it. It's a family-friendly event. Their website is preparedhomesteadexpo.com, preparedhomesteadexpo.com. You go to that and you can find some information about it. If you want to be a vendor, there is a form there you can fill out, and that gets sent to me. If you have any questions, there's a contact space. My wife has been working for 3 or 4 days now, trying to get us caught up on emails, because they get sent to, people are emailing my email address. I've got 2 for this channel, and so I get emails from both of those. We had an email set up for this expo specifically. So we've gotten a lot. Like I said, a bunch of them started going into the spam folder, so we've had to go back and pull those out and start responding to those. So that's pretty much all my wife's been doing for like 3 or 4 days now. She's just been sitting in front of a computer, responding to emails. So if you haven't been responded to, she is working on that. I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing. This is in Missouri. It's in Texas County, Missouri, northern Texas County, Missouri, in a little bump in the road called Roby, Missouri. Please plan to attend if you're able to do so. Like I said, it's a free event. So on the website, there is a donate button if you would wish to donate. If you're led to, if you're able to, that's fine. If not, there's no obligation whatsoever, but you can donate to kind of help us out. And then also at the event, there will be donation boxes set up if people want to donate that way. But we're really excited about this. And like I said, it's a 2-day event, and there's already several hundred people that have signed up to come. At this point, it's looking like, at least the numbers that I've gotten from people, somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people over a 2-day event. So we'll see how that turns out. It could be more, it could be less, but I think any of the amount that comes is good, because in the end, the main goal is to bring people together, to meet each other, to talk, and to learn. That is the main goal of this. And so taking that idea into this video, that is something that's very necessary. And the biggest problem for a lot of people is just finding each other. But as I talked about last night on my Patreon channel, there's another problem that I think a lot of people don't think of, and that's, are they really able to get along with people? Because as much as you really want this, as much as you really think that you could handle this type of, SHTF community type of scenario, we've never really, at least most of us as modern people, have really truly experienced that. And it's something new. I've done a lot of research in the past on, like hippie communes and, different type of intentional communities and tribal communities for the purpose of this type of event, that someday, and that day may be coming sooner than you think, that may be the only way that we can really survive, is the dependence upon each other and coming together in communities. And what I found is that most of the modern ones that were not successful, they weren't successful because people couldn't get along. They couldn't set aside their differences. They couldn't put aside their egos to actually succeed as a community. And so I think that that's something that we all should be aware of, and should start to look inside ourselves, because the failure of the community that you're building, or that you're part of, or that you may be part of in the future out of survival and necessity, could depend upon your interaction with others. And because we have built a modern society that's so, has alienated that. We have nothing like that really in our modern society for most people. I mean, there are certainly exceptions, but for most people, that this idea of living in a community where we're close knit and we're really dependent upon each other and we're really helping each other out is a very foreign idea for a lot of people. The closest thing that I can think of that exists in America on a regular and successful basis is probably Amish communities. And even some of those have slightly become a little bit more modern, but especially if you go to the very oldest fashioned Amish communities, you will still find that. Where there's a very close-knit community there, and they stick together and they help each other out, and they're there for each other, and they realize the importance of putting aside their own egos and their own needs sometimes for the community. And that's something that as a modern people that have really separated ourselves from personal interaction with people, it's going to become more difficult to do. And I think that having events like this one that we're having, where you can come and meet others like you, and going to monthly meetings that exist in your area, and if they don't, you can start one, is very important, because it's setting the building blocks, that foundation for communities to come in the future. And I do believe with all the things that are happening in the world today, that we are getting closer and closer to that day when they will need to exist. If you look at the problem with the food supply, that's just one indicator. If you look at all this Great Reset, Agenda 2030, ESG, all the stuff that's going on in schools, this new World Health Organization treaty thing, or whatever it is, that could basically give away our sovereignty as a nation and many other nations to the World Health Organization. All of this stuff, it's not any one thing. It's all of it together, because it's one big package deal that they have been working on for decades. It's all directed right at us. It is an attack upon our individuality, our freedoms, our beliefs, our traditions, and our complete way of life. And the only way, because this stuff is happening. It's already going on. It's not something that they're planning on doing in the future. It's something that they're doing right now. And the only way that we can really have any type of insurance against that is through our preparedness and through our building communities and building networks of communities of people that are like us, people that will work together and live together and help each other out. Because once this comes down, digital currencies and all the AI and all the genetically modified and lab created food and so on and so forth, it's going to be really hard for you to live with the rest of the world and still retain your individuality, your independence, your traditions, your spiritual and religious beliefs. It's going to be nearly impossible for that. And so that's why on this channel and many others like mine, we promote this idea of coming together as communities. Does that mean you're all going to live together on one piece of land as a hippie commune kind of thing? Not necessarily. Some people do, and they figured out how to make it work right. But the point is that we find others like us. We make those connections. We build the relationships now, because it's way easier to do it now. Once things start to get really, really bad, you're not going to trust anyone. You're not going to want to make yourself even more vulnerable to people you don't know. And so we need to do that now, and to build these networks of people that we can know and trust and do business with and depend upon as things get worse. So you got to start talking to people. One of the things that I would suggest, and I have done it myself and it's worked out really well, is go to like farmers markets and little stores that sell Amish goods or handmade goods and things like that, swap meets, things like that, and start a conversation of something like, man, I don't know what we're going to do with having something like this if they bring this digital currency. You know, if they have this digital dollar stuff, I don't know how we'll be able to come to, farmers markets and stuff. And if they just kind of glaze over and don't say anything, move along. But you'd be surprised how many of them kind of step up and start talking about it. And in that way, that's one possible way to kind of open the door and very possibly find others that are like you. Use tactics like that. Go to places that there's a better chance of there being people of like mind. And you'll be surprised, especially now, how many people will start to open their mind and open their mouth and start talking to you. I think it was on Glenn Beck, and there was some poll that was made, and that somewhere around 50% of Americans now are actually fully aware of what the Great Reset is. So that means that there's a lot of people out there. And according to Glenn Beck on the program that I was listening to, the vast majority of the people polled that knew about it, whether they didn't matter if they were independents, Republicans, or Democrats, or any of them, they were completely against it. So the chances are, if you really try, you could meet other people that share at least some of the same values that you do. And you get out there and you build community. If you're able to come to this event, the 26th and 27th of May, that's coming up soon. It's just a couple of weeks away. Please do so if you would like to be a vendor at this event, if you have something to sell, a product to show, a business to talk about, or just a skill to share. Get a hold of us at preparedhomesteadexpo.com, and we are doing our very best to keep this going and respond to all the hundreds of emails, and I literally mean hundreds, and put on a pretty good show for you. Myself, my wife, and several others around us are really working hard to put this on. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.